What's up guys, welcome back to my channel, and for today's video I'm going to share what are the things that have changed 1 year after living in the UK. Since I arrived in the UK last August 26, 2021, I've been here for a year and a half, more than a year and a half. So a while ago, I was browsing through my YouTube channel and I was looking at my old videos, and then it hit me. I said a lot of things before and now I'm taking some of them back. Starting with number one. So remember last time I said it's okay to just walk around everywhere because everything is within walking distance? It turns out there are more shops around Yeovil that I only discovered since I started driving. Again, while it is true that the high street in Yeovil is still okay, although at present there are a lot of road constructions everywhere, you still can buy a lot of things from High Street, Middle Street, you know, the town area, but actually there are more shops on the edges of town. Owning a car in the UK is a must, especially if you're living in the countryside. It's kinda necessary. Recently, there have been a lot of strikes with the trains. That used to be our major transportation when we're going out of town. We decided that, oh no, it's time to own a car. My advice, if you're not willing to walk for 30 minutes in search of a shop or going to a shop, probably start thinking about, having a driver's license. I'm not sure if I have to make a video about how I got my driving license because there are already a lot of videos in YouTube, so probably I would upload something else that is related to driving, but not the application process because it's really a saturated content. Well, if you want to move to Yeovil and you're not the type of person who likes walking a lot, the other option is to book a taxi. But if you do, just remember to always book your taxi in advance, like hours advance. So it turns out you can't just grab a taxi instantly in this town unless you know a person who drives and technically they become a taxi driver. Because back in the Philippines, public transport is very ubiquitous. Like, we don't always have taxi cabs. We have other modes of transportation and they're quite easy to hire. So what I'm trying to say is, in the countryside, cars are necessities, not luxuries. Second realization, or change, whatever you call it. We definitely need to move into a house. Houses are better than flats. So from my old videos, I did say that it's really comfortable living in the hospital accommodation because all your bills are there. Electricity, gas, water, Wi-Fi, they can be used in an unlimited fashion because you've already paid for them for a fixed price. But the thing with the hospital accommodation is you may not have privacy within your unit. Some of my friends, when they arrived in the UK, they brought their families over. They were given 2-bed units. So essentially it's like, well, a single flat for the entire family. But not all of them had that. Some of my cohort with 3 or more kids, they were assigned in houses within the hospital radius. Although we did save a lot of money staying in hospital accommodation, it got to a point where it became inconvenient because the unit became a bit crowded. Some things are not enough anymore. For example, our fridge in our old flat is, I believe, good for only 2 people, but there were 4 of us living in that unit. So imagine how cramped our fridge was. So we had to compromise a lot. We had to shop frequently, like twice a week, because we can't store a lot of food in the fridge. Not all people are considerate, not all neighbors are considerate. So when we were staying in the hospital accommodation, sometimes in the middle of the night, some of the neighbors were having their karaoke thing like really loudly, and because of the units are really close together and our room was pretty much near the center of the entire building, we could hear everything. Everything. As we stayed there longer, it became more and more annoying. The place was wonderful. There were more good than bad, but we had the option to move out, so we did move out. Why am I saying that houses are more preferable than flats? Well, first of all, I've never lived in a flat before. The only time I lived in a flat was when I was doing my 6-month internship in Manila when I was an RT student. All my life I've been living in some proper house, like either my parents' house or my grandma's. A flat or an apartment doesn't have that homey vibe, homey feeling. So whenever I come home, I feel like, ugh, I just feel like most of the flats are open spaces or open plans, and it doesn't feel right. Majority of flats in Yeovil don't have balconies or veranda. I'm not sure what's the proper term for that. You know, some areas outside the house where you can hang out. Now I realize probably because it's too cold in here and it's always raining, so it's not practical to have. Well, another observation with flats in Yeovil is that majority of flats are within noisy areas near the town center. What's wrong with noise? In my old videos, I did say that in the countryside, noise pollution is much less compared to cities, but being a country boy myself, I don't really appreciate people when they're shouting. In our area, sometimes I can hear people arguing, shouting not so friendly words against one another. The slurs or the words weren't towards us, but still, they're not really pretty to hear. Hearing them on an everyday basis, it's not really good. It's not really nice. So we are currently preparing to move out again, but this time we are moving to a proper house, not another flat, because of all these reasons that I've just mentioned. I'm not saying that living in a flat is bad. It all depends on your preference, really. So if you don't mind the things that I've mentioned, then well, flat can save you some money. Number 3, remember what I said 2 videos ago? In the past, I wasn't really keen on doing bank shifts and doing extra work because I felt really settled. But then something came up, something really big came up, and it all changed our perspective, especially my perspective. Oh, I should have put this as my number 1. But anyway, so this year, I've been trying to find ways to earn more income. I used to work as many days as possible just to have more income, but then I realized I'm losing a lot of time, especially with my family. This time, my goal is to earn more income but minimizing my work days. Luckily, in the NHS, it's not really hard to do. I'm real thankful that managers in the UK do give priority to families. They understand family dynamics. They understand how people feel about families, especially, you know, being Asian and being Filipino. We do have close family ties. I used to work hard, but nowadays I wanted to work smarter. I wanted to work smarter. For the remainder of the week, I can do some more banks. Number 4, we used to order a lot of takeaways. When we were new in the UK, we really used these apps a lot, especially Just Eat for the delivery. But then we noticed a few things about takeaways. Number 1, they can become expensive, if you do it really frequently. So it's cheaper to prepare your own food, make your own food. Number 2, most of the foods for takeaways are bland, except for fast food, because they're really flavorful because of the grease and whatever they put in there. For my wife and I still have intact Asian palate, so we don't appreciate bland food. It's easier, it's wiser to just make your own, prepare your own food. At least you know how it's supposed to taste like, and you can control the portions. You don't waste food. You can customize, really. You can experiment even on food. Our lifestyle nowadays is to prepare different kinds of food and then stock them in the fridge. When something comes up, like we become busy at work or we get too tired after work, we just grab one from the fridge and then heat it up. And it's not bland. I'm thinking, I'm married to a woman who really likes to cook. Should I post videos about Filipino dishes? I don't know if you've ever had Filipino food before. Maybe I could do an experiment and post a few videos. If you like them, I would keep on making them, or ask my wife to cook it for you, and I'll just videotape and do a voiceover. Number 5, credit score. If you're still on the process of coming to the UK, there's something people call the credit score. When we were new, we didn't really care about the credit score because we were living in the hospital accommodation, so it doesn't matter. So we weren't thinking of the future. But then at one point we realized we definitely have to increase our credit score. I remember when I came over to the UK, my credit score was 386, I think, or nearly 400. And it's not really a good score. I want to have a credit card, but with my current credit score, it's not high enough. At the moment, we're trying to find ways to increase our credit score. So far, what we have done is, number one, stop opening a lot of bank accounts. We didn't know before that having a lot of bank accounts isn't really beneficial. This is also another reason why we moved out of the hospital accommodation, because as I've said, in the staff house, we just paid our rent, and the rent includes all utility bills. So the problem with that is that banks won't know that you are paying bills. But if you move out and start paying your rent and utility bills, then the banks will see this. So it's really important that you don't miss paying these things, because otherwise it will come back and haunt you. And last thing that have changed, we became more aware of our saving. So before, we didn't really have a system on saving money. We just spend our money, and whatever is left is we just keep it to the side. So my wife and I have adapted a 60-30 system, which means we allocate 60% of our combined income every month to our expenses. So this includes the payment for rent, utility bills, mobile credit, because we still need to use our phones to, text and call, for groceries, and for car insurance and tax, road tax. And 30% of our combined income is dedicated to our savings, or which we keep on a different account. Initially, we thought of opening a savings account, but then after doing some research, you saw that it's not really practical to open a savings account because you can only withdraw the amount a few times. What we did was we opened another current account. Did we do it right? Let me know in the comment section below. And then whatever is left of our monthly income, we use it for our want or our luxuries, for leisure like traveling or entertainment, hobbies. I'm not really a gamer, but I do enjoy playing video games, and sometimes I spend some money on these games. I don't spend much, but I do spend some money. I've become more careful with my expenses, and my wife makes sure that I do that. If you're still single and if you're looking for someone to spend the rest of your life with, find a partner who is financially smart. It will save your wallet and life in the long run. By the way, if you're new to this channel, don't forget to click like and subscribe. Visit my channel page and watch my other videos. If you have any questions or any message for me, you can send me a direct message through my Instagram or through my TikTok account. I've posted them in my About page.